Thank you for joining Effortless Attraction. My name is Evelyn McAleer. I'm the author of A Life You Want, Effortless, and The Woman's Journey. I'm a life coach, business mentor, and inspirational speaker. And my greatest value is making a difference in people's lives. So I hope through these podcasts, I can make a difference to your life. A little bit more information before we pop on over to the podcast. So we're currently residing in the stunning province of Almeria in the south of Spain. As an extension of my mentoring and life coaching services, I'm now offering 4-night retreats tailored for women who are ready to prioritise themselves. So if you're a woman and you're interested in spending quality time with myself and 2 other participants, please visit my website for more details. Additionally, for business leaders and coaches who wish to have their own retreat here in Spain with their clients, I handle all of your logistics, including airport transfers, accommodation and meals for your group. If you'd like to request a retreat proposal, kindly send me an email. You'll get all of my contact information in the description below. Thank you.
Effortless Attraction podcast is sponsored by Colette Leeson Interview and Career Coaching. If you dream of landing your ideal job, consider Colette's services. With a success rate exceeding 90% among her interview clients, Colette offers personalized career guidance and interview coaching discreetly, both online and in person. She also conducts workshops and provides career advice talks. For further details, visit ColetteLeeson.com.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us on another Effortless Attraction podcast. Now, normally when I have a guest, I introduce them with their bio, but I'm not going to do that today because it will unfold as we go on. And how I have this lady on today, her name is Arlene Hayes, and it's energy. I'm always drawn to someone by energy, but there was a video that she put up recently that very much, it touched my heart. And I thought, I have seen another side to this lady because normally her videos are high energy. She's an ambassador for a clothing company. They're fun. I think, where does this woman get all her energy from? But as we know, and anybody will know really, when we're looking at other people's lives, you know, we never know what goes on behind closed doors or what has gone on in the past for people to have the lives that they have now. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would love to introduce you to Arlene Hayes. Arlene, you are most welcome today.
Oh, Evelyn, thanks so much for having me. It means a lot, and I am a chatterbox, so can stop me at any time talking.
Oh no, I'd say that this will just flow. This will just flow. Arlene, you're a big hit. I have saw you on Instagram. So what you're doing, I see currently now, is you're modeling clothes. You're describing clothes. You're promoting clothes in a very fun way through video. And I know from the background here, there's a lot of work goes on doing a video, editing a video, to producing and putting it out there. So tell us a wee bit. You said you're an ambassador for a clothing company, also a store manager. What is an ambassador?
Well, for the first time, I'm with Pamela Scott, an Irish retailer, for 14 years. And I've been working them as a store manager, love my job, going in and out every day. But before the pandemic, it was before the pandemic, about 2019, I just started doing little videos on Facebook because I was getting frustrated with sizing of clothing, fits of clothing. I was hearing the conversation in the fitting rooms about, oh, I'm not that size, I'm not this size. And it was breaking my heart. So I decided back then I'd start trying on clothes. Just to show people the honest, true fit of clothing, because it's not really about the clothes, it's about the person's body. And that's kind of where it came. And then on my own social media, I was doing it. So the pandemic happened, and then I had a little sabbatical. I took a year away from my job, and I came back and I hit the ground running with my videos, and I loved it. I opened a new store for Pamela Scott in Limerick, and I kept going into the fitting rooms, trying on clothes, being as honest as I could be. And ironically, I got this confidence, I'll fill you in a while, through my whole story, because I was like only a size 12 and 14 only 5 years ago, and now I'm a 16, 18, and I'm more confident in my body now than I've ever been. And I suppose I just wanted to share that with women. Like, it doesn't matter. We all have boobs, tummies, bums. Like, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't make anyone better than someone else, you know, in this whole size battle that does be on. So Pamela Scott saw what I was doing, and they've never had a brand ambassador. They've had people promote their product outside the company, but they've never had like an in-house like brand ambassador. But there I am, Arlene down in Ennis, their store manager, and they gave me this position, created it, and then I kind of put out 3 videos a week for them. And to be honest with you, I actually did it with my eyes closed. I just enjoyed doing it, so it was never hard for me. And I got into 1 year of doing it on my own. I'm 2 years now doing it for them. And to be honest, it's all time. Like, I have to manage my time well to do it because I'm running a store as well. But I love it. It's kind of my little joy on the side as well for my job.
Well, as you say, Arlene, you definitely have to have confidence, because not everyone does feel comfortable in front of a camera. And I do believe that it is possible to love what it is that you do. And I mean, you show that well in your videos. But I'm going to get back to that. I'm going to take us back a wee bit, and I'm going to be mindful of, you know, where the questions go on this, Arlene. But I saw a video you done a few weeks ago. You were lying up in bed, no makeup, no nothing, just raw. She had clothes on.
Yeah.
But
gym gems.
It was like a raw truth. A different Arlene, a different side to Arlene. And it's the first, as you said, you've shared your story many times, but it's the first I actually heard it. And I said, I want to get speaking to that woman on the strength of that. But I'd seen all this big persona.
And that's it. And it's kind of funny, Evelyn, when I put that video up that night, I was answering a kind of a question box. You know, I'm kind of gas, like pure hashtag notions about myself, that people will have all these questions. And ironically, that was the only question that got asked. And the question was, Arlene, I see that you've had a trauma and I don't know what it was. And, you know, she was asking, or he was asking, I don't know who asked the question, they kind of wants to know more. And I was kind of in my head going, sure, I've told everyone here on Instagram my story. But I suppose I forgot my following has grown, and I suppose it just is like no more than anyone else. If we pick up our phone today, we mightn't view people's stories, and tomorrow, you know, so they could have missed it. So when I came on that evening talking about it, it didn't feel that big of a deal for me, because I had spoken about it so much and I was answering that woman's question.
And for me, it was the first time hearing it. So I wanted to hear a wee bit more. So Arlene, I know whenever we briefly spoke, or just voice messages to and fro last week, and I'm going to say this word you say as well, in a way, the shit show brought my life to where it is now. You know, this show is called Effortless Attraction, and many a one would question, ask me when I talk about manifesting or law of attraction, but there's so many bad things that happen in life. How do we end up attracting that there? And I think this is where people get confused, that we don't, you know, there's things that I do believe that that happen in our life for it to be steered in a certain direction. And you're here today, Arlene, to bring hope. I believe to bring hope, to bring light to people maybe that are in darkness, if people are suffering, by perhaps sharing a bit of where you were at, your healing, and where you're at now. So take it away, Arlene. The stage is yours.
It would be my pleasure. So I'm 47 now, I'll be 48 in August. So I'll have to kind of go back to about around when I was 39. I started having these vivid memories, and the memories would go through my brain, and I'd be like, oh my God, what's that up there? And I'd have little flashes of something else. And I didn't know what they were, but obviously I was kind of a bit unnerved about them. So I went to my GP and I said, look, I need to talk about something. And I divulged that I think that I might have been abused when I was younger. But I wasn't too sure. So he was kind, but at the same time, he was my doctor since I was 5. So for me to say this, he was kind of a bit thrown back. But at the same time, now what I've learned in the last 7 years, he must have had his eyes closed all them times I was in that surgery, because I'd been so sick all my life that I look back now and go, how did nobody ever see it? So from that moment of my 39th birthday, the doctor referred me to see a counsellor. Now, I literally told one friend what was going on in my brain. And then my 40th birthday came, and they say life begins at 40. So between my 40th birthday and my 41st birthday, my story unfolded. So I started to get to know myself a little bit more, was trying to go to counselling without talking to anybody outside, but something was bubbling. Like it was something I couldn't control, even though I tried to. So I kept being me, happy and going to work and being a mother. And then around my 40th birthday came and went. And the following year, on the lead up to my 41st birthday, I was very stressed that year. Everything that was going wrong, I felt like my whole world was crumbling. And looking back, it probably was. And I was I was on a waiting list for a counsellor, and then I got to see one in the Rape Crisis Centre. So just before my 41st birthday, a week before it, I had a conversation with my parents, basically. And I told them what was going on, and I said the person that was involved, and obviously there was an awful lot of shock involved. But I needed them to confront this person for me because I didn't know whether it was real or not. So it took them until, excuse me, the day of my birthday to confront this person. And obviously, not obviously, you wouldn't know, but I love birthdays. I love birthdays, and it's not about presents or anything. I just love people and cake and all that good stuff. So the day of my birthday, my 41st birthday, my world fell apart. Like literally, I will never forget it as long as I live. And that day, as if it was yesterday, and I even can feel it now coming up because it was so real to me. I remember my friends came over. I told them what was happening. We'd cancel going out for dinner. It was a lot of drama, a lot of upset. And that night, my son always goes away the weekend of my birthday because I'm a single parent, and my friend always took him the weekend of my birthday for all those years. So she took him that weekend, and so there was nobody here in my house, and my friends all went home to their own houses and they left me here. And I'll never forget that lonely feeling I felt that night. I was sitting above my bedroom and I had my blanket over my head, and I rang Shannon Doc. I wanted to talk to somebody, and this kind woman, a nurse, came on the phone, and she spoke to me and she said, everything is going to be okay. And I was bawling, crying. And I goes, I don't know what to do. And I said, everyone's so upset and I can't believe this after happening and blah, blah, blah. Because the person that was confronted that day admitted it. So it was all very real. So from that day, my 41st birthday, here we are 6 years later. I'm not joking you. Talk about an absolute tidal wave hit my life. I tried to control it for about 2 years. I'm fine. Everything's great. I'm flying it. I'm living my best life still. Look at me. While weight was falling off me, I was grey looking. I was going to the counsellor, and everyone's like, how's the counselling going? Oh, counselling's great. But sure, nobody was to understand how I was actually feeling. And I suppose I didn't even understand myself, if I'm being honest. I didn't understand what healing was. I didn't understand what energy was, ironically. I remember my counsellor going, Arlene, you're giving too much of your energy away. And I'm like, what? I'm not. I was like, I'm only going to the gym. I'm only going climbing a mountain. I was like, I just didn't. I goes, these were all good things. And I didn't understand. Now I do. But back then I didn't. So I was burning out. I was inside in work. I was still rearing my son. I was still running a store. I was being everything to everyone. And I was putting on that brave face. And it got to a stage that I got very sick. And I ended up in hospital. And my body was like telling the world I was sick. I had everything wrong with me. My heart, my lungs, my tummy. I had rashes all over my body. And although back then, looking back, I really thought I was sick. But I was kind of glad somewhere deep down that I could rest because I was exhausted. So the people around me were more worried than I was. I was just going, this is great. I can sleep. And I was in and out of hospital for 2 weeks, and I slept for 5 solid weeks. After that, it was just, I'll never forget it. And my body started to calm down. But I definitely I was so thin. I like I was so thin, but everyone was like, "Oh my God, you look great. Look at those bones in your shoulders." And I was like, "I know, look." It was bonkers. So that was probably within the first 2 years of my healing journey. And then I had moments the following year. Isn't it mad? I can't remember being a child, but I can remember the last 6 years like it was yesterday. I went through pockets of depression. I felt that I didn't deserve a place here because I was like, everyone was so upset. Everyone was still upset. I was losing friends left, right, and centre. Family, I was losing left, right, and centre because nobody understood. They couldn't understand why I was acting the way I was. Like, it was uncomfortable for people. And like, whereas I was kind of going, will you just please ask me, am I okay? You know, please ask me because I'm really not okay. And I remember driving out the road. I'll never forget it. I was heading towards the beach. And I did think, wouldn't I be better not here? Because then everybody will be much better. They won't be stepping on eggshells. They won't be wondering, you know, what to say around me. And I kept driving. Next thing I was like, Arlene, cop on. You have Daniel, you're a mother, you have everything, your parents, you have everyone around you. So I turned the car and I was way out the road and I turned the car and I drove directly to my doctor's. And I was bawling and I was like, I don't know what to do. And he was very good. Now, he did put me on medicine at the time. And I said, and because I suppose it was very acute and my brain was so fragile. And even then, I kind of realized now I know what healing means because my brain was playing tricks on me. None of what was going on up there was true. I know that now, but back then it didn't feel that way. And I knew then I had to relax. I needed to slow down. I needed, to be honest, ironically, I needed to be on my own. I needed to stop seeing friends, stop pushing myself to see family, to stop smiling. Like, I just needed to go to work, come home, go to my counselling, get sleep, eat as good as I could, and be the best mother I could to Daniel, because that was where my priority was. I really microscoped it right down to me and him, because he was obviously the most important person in my life, bar myself. But before, I used to think of everybody, like everybody. I was that friend that always wanted to meet, always organising to meet up for coffees, teas, lunches, going out. But I stopped it all, and I knew I had to. It wasn't a conscious decision, but it was something that happened. And I continued on my counselling throughout it all. Prior to the confession, let's say, I thought that people ate loads and got sick all the time. I thought that was perfectly normal. When people stuffed their faces, I thought that was normal until I didn't. So this was happening throughout my healing, but I thought it was still normal until I realised it's really not. There's something going on. I remember being at my dentist and my dentist said, Arlene, something going on with your gums. You know, he said, I think you should go to the doctor, because he said there's a bit of kind of malnutrition or something going on with your gums. They're receding. But I knew, my instinct told me, I knew what was wrong. And something came in and I went, holy God, this is pain I was feeling. I was literally suppressing everything. So I self-taught myself not to be sick. I don't know how I done it, but I self-taught myself. So that's how I ended up putting on weight, was because I had to let go of that control, let go of being skinny and having the perfect body. And I'm doing that in inverted commas, because like, I can't believe that I was defining myself by my size. So I had to go through all that, and then, to be honest, in recent years, it was still kind of there. It's kind of only in the last maybe year or so, I've kind of let go of it. But it was definitely my thing. You know, when the going got tough, there was a mixture, that and Pinot Grigio. It kind of worked with each other for a while. You know, I drank lots of Pinot Grigio, thought that was, to be honest, I was doing that in my 20s and 30s and thought that was normal too. But looking back, I can see how my life went into my 20s, into my 30s. And I don't want to ever change anything, but like turning 40 when it all kind of came out, I suppose I wished somehow it would have been sooner. And I suppose that's why I started talking about it more, because I'd wish that people could heal sooner, because I do feel that a lot was taken from me, in the sense that I look back in my 20s, 30s, I was car crash. Now, nobody around me agrees with me, but I know I was, because nobody knows your behaviour is better than yourself. And I always felt, I could have, if I healed and did the healing journey quicker, not quicker, but sooner, maybe then I might have got married, maybe I might have had more children. I know people say, but, we're here in the present. But it was hard for me to understand that as part of my healing journey. So that took a while, because I was nearly grieving the loss of a life that I should have had, even though the one I'm living, there was nothing wrong with it. There was nothing wrong with it. I had great friends, family, I had Daniel. But at the same time, ideally, I was looking, going, I could have had all that had what happened to me never happened to me, or if I healed sooner for it. So there was a lot of anger. There was a lot that came through me for a long time, and it took stages. So ironically, even though it's only 6 years, it's a very short period of time, things happened when they're meant to happen. Like what you said at the beginning, I think when I was ready for more, I was given more. As I went along, people were taken out of my life when I was strong enough for them to be gone. And I'm so grateful. A lot of the time I was like, well, maybe it's me. Maybe I'm the problem. But I've realized since it was just that I was triggering other people. They were like, I've learned now that that's what happens. People just can't deal with it. It's no offense to me, but that's the way human behavior can be, But a lot of it definitely has led me to be where I am today. It's still raw in the sense that I don't think it'll ever leave me, the person that did what he done to me was very close to me. So ironically, that was very hard, because if you love someone, how can you not love them anymore? And I found that really, really hard for my mind to understand. Like, I'd forgive anybody. Like, I'm so forgiven. So I had to work on that last year. Big
And
time.
when you talk about, sorry for interrupting, Arlene, but I have to take it that not everybody has heard about a healing journey also. So when you talk about a healing journey, what does that look like for people? You go through, is there stages? You go through that. I want to die. I'm ready to opt out of here. Take me out. I want out of this pain. And then you think, no, I have to make myself better here. What does for you, or what was a healing journey?
For me, it was definitely self-acceptance. To love myself unconditionally, warts and all, because I'm not perfect and I'm far from it. I've probably hurt people along my life ways, but I have to let go of that. I had to let go. I never did the blame game. I have to give myself that. I never really kind of pointed fingers. I was hurt. I was angry. I definitely was angry, but I realized if I hang on to all that negativity, it was me it was hurting. So although, and I've often said, it's not fair what happened to me. Why should I have to do the work? And that was there I've said that a few times until I realized why, because I was hurting myself. And it is horrible. It is awful that I had to do the healing. But now where the healing has led me is I can sleep at night. I don't have any weight on my shoulder. I used to feel like I had the weight of the world. The tension used to be on my body, across my shoulders. Now it's just gone. It's so freeing. Like, my life is right now is like, I'm really happy. I'm so happy. Nobody is at me. My circle is so small now, which was the big call had to happen. People would say to me, Arlene, am I still on your Christmas card list? And I'm like, you're lucky. Keep doing what you're doing. You'll be on it for next year. But I had to do all that. I had to surround myself with people that had my back and that looked out for me. And I'm a very strong woman, and I've realized that I didn't know what strength was until I've reflected the last 6 years. I am so self-sufficient in the sense that I've reared my son on my own. Now, my parents obviously helped me, but I still did it. And I never felt sorry for myself. I've never felt hard done by. And the same came with the healing journey the last 6 years. And I still had to raise Daniel. He's 18 now, just gone. So that was a very kind of vulnerable time of his life that I was going through what I was going through. So it was very hard to navigate. Was there highs and lows of it? Of course there was. I'm only human. But like for me, I actually feel that I'm living the Arlene of around the time what happened to me. I'm reliving myself. I feel I'm very childlike in a lot of ways. I love the freedom. I bought myself a bicycle and I'm splashing in the ocean. I'm dancing when everyone is watching. It doesn't bother me. And like,
Maybe you have more of an appreciation though of that life now in your 40s, Arlene. You know, when we had it in the 20s, you think, I'm not doing that, mortified. But you appreciate it now.
I do. And I look at my peers and my colleagues and my friends, and they'd all look at me going, Arlene, really? And I'm like, sure, it's great fun. What's wrong? Like, I don't really mind it. Like, if anyone judges me, but sure, they're only judging themselves. Why would you not like have a bit of fun and let your guard down? And like, if we can't do that, what is it all about? That's what I get. Like, you know, I work hard, but my life outside of work is just fun, and there's freedom, and I can sleep at night now with peace. And that peace only came, I'd say, in the last 6 months. I suffered awful PTSD for about a year. And that was actually being triggered by other people, because it wasn't about what happened. It was more that I was in fight and flight. I was panicking all the time. So any bit of negativity really got to me. You know, and it's very hard to avoid it in life, but at the same time, I've found myself little techniques to mind myself now around it.
Good. Well, thanks. I'm going to close the chapter on that chapter of your life.
Thanks.
Stiffness. I know it all makes, Arlene, all the things that happen in our lives, but it's like sometimes I feel in my life that like I've had 2 lifetimes in the one lifetime. And that perhaps, Arlene, might be for the same for yourself. 2 lifetimes in the one lifetime. I know that these things happen, but I feel like I'm living like a reincarnation here now. You've reincarnated. You've shed the like the caterpillar to the butterfly. Yeah. And you now have a story. You are not the victim. You said you've never been, but to share that it may help others. And I really like that when you said about your healing journey, self-acceptance. I work with a lot of women, and this has to be the biggest one, is self-acceptance, love of thyself. Declan Coyle, that wrote the Green Platform, he said he was doing a conference one time, and some lady in the audience said, but it's vain to love yourself, because in the Bible it says, love thy neighbor as thyself. Well, he said, God help your neighbors if you love them and just love yourselves. Self-acceptance, the importance of that. And I always say, Arlene, no matter what size a woman is, I'll tell you what shows me her confidence. I find a confident woman very sexy. Or when she walks into a room, she has an air, an aura, energy about her. How do you get to self-acceptance?
For me, I suppose prior to all of this that went on, I always had confidence in myself. I always did, because my friends would always say to me, Arlene, you'd really want to work on that confidence. And now they would totally be slagging me, in the sense going, you know, if someone said, Arlene, your hair is lovely, I'm like, oh, yeah, I know, thanks. For me, I just think, like, the way I look at it is, like, people give out about their arms being wiggly jiggly, right? I have lots of women that give out about their arms. Whereas I look at my arms and go, Jesus, they're great arms. Wasn't I holding Daniel as a baby, and I'm hugging my parents, like, with them? Then I go on about our legs and our tummy, and now I hold on to my tummy going, Jesus, it's been through a lot. You know, I had an emergency section. I'm a woman in perimenopause. Why would I give out to it? Because if you give out to your body, it's going to just, like, I went through the whole stress part of it and your body holds and stuff. And now I understand why pain manifests. You're as well just to let it go. Or like people, give out about their legs and their knees, and I'm like, but sure, your legs bring you from A to B every day. Like you go for your walks with them. So let's just stop giving out about it. So I'm very vocal about that now, because I'm like going, would I like a smaller body? Sure, of course I would, just to fit into more clothes. That's all. Like, it wouldn't be for vanity. It'd be like that I'd have more range of clothes. But at the same time, I accept where I am. I'm happy out. Do you know what I mean? And
that's it. It's gratitude, isn't it? It's fine. And it's gratitude for the body. And as you say, I do believe a lot of the pain that we create and manifest. And that's why your body took sick. And I always say, from sickness comes greatness. Your body had to store this up. Now it's time. If we can make ourselves ill by what mentally, physically, what we're consuming, otherwise, and I know things are genetic also, we can also make ourselves well. And another thing you mentioned there too, Arlene, is fun and joy. Now, anybody that listens to me know I talk about vibrations and things, and one of the highest vibrations that we can exist on is joy, is having fun. And this going out and doing daft stuff, even watching something that makes you laugh. That's why you bring a smile to people's faces, Arlene. So you create that ripple effect also. But it's the simplest things. All those things serve to heal your body. High vibrations. Surround yourself, as you said, with good people that keep you accountable. And I am quite sure, Arlene, you've attracted people in your life will also say, Arlene,
oh, 100%.
back on track, Arlene.
And you need people like that,
Yeah.
Daniel, going back there to those videos, Daniel goes to me, Mom, are you listening to your video again? And I'm like, Daniel, I'm more laughing at myself. he'd hear the background music and he'd recognize the music and he's like, Mom, yeah. And I'm like, Daniel, it's very funny. And I watch myself back and I go, Arlene, I can't believe you did that. Or like, and I jump around the place and not a care in the world. And I love it. I love that I get my staff involved. My friends don't get involved as much, but the girls in work were great. I'll crack together. And we do it. And I love doing that, especially with my younger staff, because they're all only young and they're only not even going into their 20s yet. And I kind of go, come on, let's all do this together. Have a bit of fun, get out of our heads, because nobody really actually cares. No. Really, let's be honest, do that.
And tell me this quick question. Who does your editing? Do you do it all yourself?
I do it all myself.
Good girl.
Yeah.
I love that you're a creative being. And if your creativity is stifled in any way, you feel like, I can't breathe, I can't exist. Or as you're saying, if you're given a list of chores, you have to do this, I need you to be there. You are, I know just by our brief conversation, yes, you are an entrepreneur, but that is your persona. This is the way I can manage it. I can do it. I love to have assistance. I love to have help, but you don't need to tell me what to do or babysit me. Allow me to do my own thing.
I just kind of wing it. And I love doing that. And now, like, I suppose I now that I did my college course last year, that brought me up another notch again of understanding who I am, and then I started seeing myself through the eyes of the people that love me. I never saw myself. Like, I was always I always took myself for granted, and my personality and my capability of doing stuff. I literally took myself for granted. Whereas now I'm kind of going, you actually can be anything you want to be, Arlene. Be careful of what we wish for. And I do believe, as much as like I haven't written down stuff to manifest, but it all happens.
Yeah.
Anything that
absolutely.
I think, it's which is amazing.
That's where we have to be mindful. And on that note of manifesting, and be careful what you wish for, you've now qualified to be a life coach yourself. Have I competition?
There's room for all of us.
Yes, indeed. What they used to say in the Late Show, there's one for everyone in the house.
One for everyone in the audience. So yeah, I did. And it's funny because I actually started the course in 2019 and I was in module 3 and it brought up so much for me. So it wasn't coaching I needed, it was counselling. So I had to go back to counselling. And then it kept coming up that I wanted to be a life coach. And then last summer, I just said, I want to be a life coach out of nowhere, like literally one day. And it all just worked. And I went back, and it was a huge deal for me because I have never done a course in my whole life. I've just been winging my life, and I'm a store manager. Like, it's kind of mad, really. But so to do that course, complete the 8 modules, I might as well have won the lotto, because I couldn't believe I could do it, because I believed I couldn't, that I wasn't the one that would be able to get a diploma, and I genuinely, in September, October, but then come November, I was like, clean. I was like, everyone goes, now, Evelyn, you'll understand this. I did all my modules on my phone, every one of them. I wrote them in my notes. I didn't know what Microsoft Word was. I was copying and pasting it. And before I knew it, I was doing it. And I was doing, anywhere I went, I was doing bits of my modules on airplanes, if I was going on holidays. And I really got into it, and I loved it. Now, look, I don't really know what I'm doing with it yet. Kind of have
So
some
tell me,
idea.
well, let's create a little bit of manifesting in this space.
Well,
What would a client be for you, or what's the end goal that you'd like to help people achieve at this stage? Because it all changes also, but at this time in life, thinking this is the type of person I could help.
I think for myself is to help people on their wellness journey and confidence, you know, to realize that we're not valued by, like, all we are is skin on top of our bodies. It's all about our heart and our soul. Like, that's what who we are. It's not about how we look. So I do think for a lot of women, especially the ones that I deal with all the time, that I'd love just to empower women to live their best little happy lives and get out of their heads that size doesn't define us. That definitely would be an area that I'd love to go into. Is there? Yes.
You could do plenty of workshops.
I could do loads of workshops.
You could. I think that's where you would be. You're to be on stage, Arlene.
Stop it. My friend says that all the time to me.
Yeah, one-to-ones would be grand, but I think you're to be out on a stage. I think you're not a and I say performer as a compliment. A stage and an audience is, I do believe, for where you will.
And you know what? I kind of can see it myself. Like, I just love entertaining people. And I do fashion shows inside and work, and I've been doing them for, I'd say, 8 years now. And I'll host it for 70 women. I get into the shop and I talk and talk and talk and talk. And I actually just thought that was normal too, but I realized I had a quality there that I'm able to do it. So, this time next year, I'll be holding the microphone, please God, and helping women, just encouraging them all that, and to live our little happy best lives.
And sure, your energy will draw them all in.
I hope so. I went on my first solo holiday as well. That was a big thing this year.
I saw photos.
Did you see it? Yeah,
I did.
that was a big deal for me, as well as the college thing, because I suppose the college thing made it happen as well, because I was changing with the college course and going on the solo holiday. And although I only went on one, I think one was enough at the same time that I could do it. So I'm ticking boxes all the time. So I'm excited for what's ahead.
Yeah. There's so much what you talked about today. I can really relate to. I had tears in my eyes at a stage too, because I remember different things in my past. And that another one there, I remember on my birthday going to an event in Dublin, and I stayed over. I remember asking people, how do you go to the breakfast room by yourself in the morning? Because I never had to do it before. I always had someone with me. But I said, no, we're going to do this, Evelyn. At that stage, phones weren't such a big thing. They said, take a magazine or a newspaper with you. I was so nervous. The night before, when I stayed in the hotel, there was 2 girls there from Cork and Limerick, and they said, we'll take you out for your birthday dinner. And it was lovely. But I remember that walk back to the room, and it was the loneliest walk I'd ever walked in my life. I lay in the bed and cried. I've nobody, I've none. And I can't really remember much of what the guy said at the workshop, but he did say the line, this too shall pass. And I walked and walked and walked the next day up and down the beach going, this too shall pass, this too shall pass, this too shall pass. And in hindsight, now looking back, what I received was the best birthday gift ever. On that date, 7 years ago, May passed 7 years ago, I met my best friend, and he has been in Paddy. He's coaching. He's out doing Euro coaching. We've gone on holidays. He was there when I got married to Jim. He came here for my 50th
Wow.
birthday. So we've been in each other's life. You know, when you think, for anyone listening, when you think I'm going through a lonely time, I'm on my own, I'm by myself, I have nobody. There's something's going to show up, and you will not realize it or see it. And those two girls that also took me out for dinner that night, all three of them were in my first book. They all had a story.
Wow.
So they were all in my first book that I had written. So
Isn't it
life,
amazing? And
it's
it is like,
amazing.
yeah, it is. And it does, it kind of, in that moment of being lonely, it was just making room for all your new friends to come in,
Yeah.
you know, is to
Yeah.
kind of get uncomfortable with that uncomfortableness.
And you have to have courage. So I think for change, Arlene, it's a brave thing to say, right, I have confidence here, but to go off by yourself too, it is scary and it can be lonely. But and think, right, but I've done that. I don't know if I'll do it again and maybe go with a friend the next time. At least you got to experience it. But to change takes courage. Would you agree with that, Arlene?
Oh, 100%. Because if I was to keep doing what I was doing, I'd end up going nowhere because a lot of my friends are in relationships or they're still rearing their children. So I was kind of going, what do you do then? My son has a girlfriend, he's living his best life. So if I wasn't going to change my ways, and although I had a great little routine, I'd be stuck at home, miserable. So I was
Yeah.
like going, you know, so, and it brought another holiday. I went on another one in March. I have another one. I'm going to Medjugorje in October. And now it's opening up doors. I've been asked, I'm going to a retreat in Dingle. And I've been asked to do stuff now, which I wasn't being
Brilliant.
asked, but now I am. So it's kind of, I needed to do it.
And
You
you
know, I
never
did need,
know, we might see you in Anne
wouldn't
Maria
it?
here for a retreat sometime. You
Wouldn't
just
be, I
never
could
know.
meet the man of my dreams. You never know.
We could get you a Juan Carlos, Juan,
Yes,
Juan
I
Maria.
wouldn't mind. You know,
We're
and
out in the
it's
country
funny.
now. It'll be a wee country Spanish man you'd be getting out here.
But you know what? Wouldn't that be grand? Nice and quiet. Saturday
Arlene,
night.
sorry,
Sorry.
go ahead. No, I could talk on for ages, but I'd say we'll have to cut ourselves
That's
off
no
here now because
problem.
I know this conversation. I'd think of something to say, and then would say, right, we're away now, and then, oh, do you remember that time? So, listen, anyone that's tuning in or gets an opportunity to listen, if you're on Spotify, underneath there is a comment section. If there's anything that you want to shout out to Arlene or let us know what you think of the show. Arlene, how can people follow what you're doing, or if you're starting your life coaching journey, where do they find you?
And for me, it's probably Instagram, Arlene's Day. So it's Arlene Hayes, but it's Arlene's Day is the name of the account. Really just there. I haven't launched the life coaching. I'm doing it on the day of my birthday. So it's significant to me. 25th of August. So I will launch a little online platform. And it's kind of, I'm taking my power back and taking my birthday back. So that'll be the end of August. But yeah, Arlene's Day. And just, I've warned you now here. It's a mixed bag of craziness, but it's all good fun.
Oh, excellent, excellent. Well, Arlene, thank you so much for your time today, for sharing
So
your story with
thank
us,
you.
and for hopefully it might make a difference to someone's day, to someone's life. We just never, ever, ever know.
No, we never know who's listening.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in to another Effortless Attraction podcast.